All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Business Workshop. We are here today with somebody that I followed for months and months and months, and then just decided, you know what, I'm just going to reach out and see if he's willing to come on the podcast. From a lot of people who don't follow him or look at him, and you look at this guy for the first time, you're like, I don't want to talk to that guy. He looks scary or something of that nature. I'm sure he gets it plenty of times, but I follow his content, and I feel he just is so genuine and a real person, which I feel in this industry you don't see often. And the things that he's doing is so outside the box, which I think a lot of realtors in this industry should take note of because you want to make yourself different and stand out. So from Arizona, we have Call Tattoo, Mr. Justin Mercer. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
So for everybody that doesn't know you, I don't know how they don't. I mean, your face is everywhere, but for the people that don't know you, little backstory, maybe what you did before real estate and what, where you are now.
So, I was a teacher back in the day. I used to teach before all the craziness. All the tattoos were hidden back then, but I left teaching. There was no money in Arizona teaching. I made $32,000 a year. It was like $800 every 2 weeks. And you can't sustain like a family or nothing from that. So I went into work for PepsiCo. I was driving a semi. So I did that for a total of 13 years. The last 2 years was with Frito-Lay, who owned by Pepsi. But that job just tore my life apart. Tore me apart, my mental apart, my body, marriages, relationships with kids. I was working 60, 70-hour weeks, 15-hour days.
That's driving cross country?
No, it was all local.
Okay.
So my truck would weigh like $28,000 worth of product, and I'm unloading that shit every single day. The last 2 years at Frito, a lot less on my body, but the hours were midnight to like 1 in the afternoon. I have 2 kids, so I was sleeping an hour before work, hour after work, and 2 years of that will
That'll beat you up.
Mental health. Yeah, so I mean, it ruined 2 marriages. I got 2 divorces from it. They were never bad. It was just like a me versus me always. I've always wanted to do real estate, just never thought I could. There's no rule against it. There's no one that would ever work with me. But I remember looking at my agent's commission checks. I bought and sold 2 houses before I was even in real estate. And when you see those commission checks, you're like, damn, man. And I always said, like, I wish I could do that. Like, I've always wanted to do real estate. I wish I could. And finally, like, after the second divorce, they weren't her kids. So I lost the kids, lost the house, lost the wife. I was like just torn down. I was in the corner of my room crying. Like, I didn't want to be here anymore. So I was like, I always had this idea to do real estate. I'm just going to fucking do it because it can't get any worse. And that night, I didn't even go to sleep. I went straight to work, worked my 12-hour shift, went straight from work to sign up for real estate school. They had a class that night, and I started that night. So I went over the span of 2.5 weeks. I finished my courses and tests, and I maybe slept 6 hours. Like, I would go straight from work to pick up my kids the hour or 2 to hang out with them, drop them back off with their moms, go to school, and leave from real estate school straight to work. So I did that for 2.5 weeks, and like, talk about grind mode. Like, that shit was intense. But I passed the test first try, each one, and then got my license and fucking took off. So I didn't even know this. I was hoping to sell 5 houses my first year. This is just like, I've always been an above average worker. When I was a teacher, I was a kid's favorite teacher, the teacher's favorite teacher. When I was a truck driver, I hated it, but I was their workhorse. So I knew in real estate, I have the work ethic and the character. So it was just more delivering my message.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just hoping, praying to God that first year I'll sell 5 houses and can get out of this crazy job. Ended up getting a good boost from the news and some shit that happened online, which boosted me as far as credibility, like my face being seen.
Right.
And then I quit my job cold turkey with nothing in the pipe, like nothing going on for me, no business. COVID hit. Like, it started off crazy, but that's what built me, I think, to have what I have now.
That's crazy. So you literally started about 3 years ago then? Like, at that point, basically?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you literally, no deals in the pipeline, literally like just whatever savings you put together from busting your ass at, your regular full-time job, and then just said, I'm just going all in.
Yeah, I had my license for like 2 months and I wasn't doing anything with it because I had the credibility. They already did the news story on me, but here I am talking the news about becoming a real estate agent, and then I'm going straight to work that night. So I wasn't doing real estate. Like, I had my license, but there was absolutely zero time to do it. And that's when I had this message of chase your dreams, believe in yourself. But in reality, I was being a fake. Like, I had a safety net. And
Right.
I had a safety net because I was afraid that if it didn't work out, no one else was going to hire me. So instead of living this fucking fake life where I'm telling everyone to follow their dreams, but I'm not, I quit my job. So I had one in escrow when I quit my job. It was a best friend, and that ended up falling out of escrow. So March 2020 is like when I fully dove into real estate full time, and COVID hit. So like
Right. It's
literally, I was just like fucked. I didn't
yeah, you're
think,
like this is what did I just do to myself?
yeah. But in my mind, like I tore my life apart making 70 grand a year. So 70 grand a year, I was making paycheck to paycheck. If I could bust my ass in real estate and make 70 grand, I would fucking be happy. Like, it's just like, I could be happy with 70 grand. So like 5 checks can equal up to 70 grand. So that's all I was shooting for, and ended up doing 23 my first year.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I didn't think I'd make it at all. So it was kind of cool. Like how you just introed me, it's, to me, it still feels weird. Like I don't deserve what you just said. That's how I feel in my mind. So I
Yeah,
didn't
but
think I'd be in it.
you do, because you're the living proof of doing it. And the one of the things that you just mentioned, because I actually when I batch my content for like the next couple of weeks, I just shot a video like yesterday about how everyone wants to post these motivational quotes. Everybody wants to share these motivational quotes, and it's all bullshit because they don't do any of it, but they post it like they're doing it, and
Yeah.
it's all fake, and it's just to put on some persona. Meanwhile, like, all right, you want to keep posting like these motivational things, like back it up and do it then, and then
Yeah.
and let it mean something. And you saying that, it literally just verifies that.
Yeah, I mean, I find that you're going to help more people when you're real than you're going to do it when you're putting on this facade.
Right.
So like even up to the last year, like I made more money than I've ever made in my life my second year of real estate. Everyone in my entire family put together didn't even equal what I made. And I like lost it all my third year because I'm starting a team. I got an office, the market turned, and it was just, there's 1 month I lost 70 grand, then like another couple grand. And then I was just losing money left. And I kept that inside. And I was just like afraid to let people know, because in my mind, it's like, if I fail, everyone's gonna be like, I told you so. Told you it doesn't work.
Right.
And I felt like there was a spotlight on me, so I couldn't tell people I was failing. And I wasn't asking for help. And I wasn't trying to figure it out, because I was just putting on this face like, oh, I'm still happy. Look at me, I'm doing business. And it was just sneaking. But when I started being more open about it, is when you find out from everyone who I strive to be, they've done that 3 or 4 times. Like,
absolutely. Listen, you're at least you're willing to put the money up, and there's going to be years that are going to be down. There's going to be years that go up. Like every single person, like we're in a commission-based business at the end of the day. But when you're growing, I mean, most businesses, it takes 5 years on the average to make money. If you're opening up a restaurant, or say like just be, you're losing money every single year for your first 5 years, most likely. And to be able to jump into something, making money from day one, but at the end of the day, you're still reinvesting it back into the business to continue to grow. So, losing some money, it's part of it.
Yeah. Plus I have a team of 15, so I don't want to, I wanted to keep it from the team because I don't want them to think like we're failing, be prepared. Like I didn't want to do that. But in reality, I was like, I want to tell them, because I'm not going away. Like I'll figure this shit out. Like it's just things have to change. But I want to stress the importance of like, this shit's not easy. Like if you can see me fail and work every single day and still be here, I'm going to instill that into them. So I stopped hiding it. I started being so open about it that I stopped stressing about it, because now I'm like meeting with the top agents in the nation and finding out they did it 5 or 6 times. So I'm just like, and now I have their backup and I have their knowledge and wisdom. Had I kept my mouth shut the entire time, I'm just being fake. And then I'm not going to find the right answer.
Yeah. And listen, it just takes off that weight on your shoulders also. It's just out in the open. It's not like, going to sleep at night, you're like, oh, I'm just putting on a persona, like you said, and I'm trying to hide it from everybody. Now it's out in the open. It's like, all right, let's keep our head down. Let's keep pushing, and let's get over this hurdle.
Yeah.
So now that you're, like you said, you were growing the team, you had crazy lost month potentially of 70 grand, like you mentioned. You opened up your own storefront or whatever, office space. What put you in that mindset of like, okay, I was an individual agent for X amount of years, or for when did you start the team? Like how far into it?
My second year. So it started my second, or I did 2 full years of real estate. So it was like the end of my second year, I started a team, and I didn't want to. Like it was 2 girls that used to be on my team. I was on a team for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I left the team to go solo. So as soon as I go solo, they approached me about starting a team. And I told them no, because in my eyes, it's irresponsible for me to start a team. Like, it's irresponsible for me as a second-year agent to start a team, because it's like, I don't even know real estate technically. Like, I think my first year of real estate, I treated like a business, and I learned from everyone I could, went to every class I could. I knew more than 98% of the industry, just because of the people I surrounded myself with. But it's still irresponsible for me to do that, because you're teaching new agents and you're still technically learning. Like, I'll be learning for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
I told them no, and they kept coming to me. And finally, I was like, you know what? I do stuff well. So I approached it more of a, hey, I will start a team, but I want you to know, here's what I will provide. So if you're looking for something else, it's probably not a good fit. And at that time, I was doing the investment space. So we talked to wholesale. So I can't teach agents how to run their CRM and build this massive follow-up system, because I don't do that stuff. And I learned the hard way I should be doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, but I can teach you how to market yourself, social media, branding. I can teach you how to run a two-step business where it's not just retail, it's your investment side too. So I can teach you how to wholesale, flip, creative finance, build wealth for yourself while doing retail and marketing and branding. And I found that was value enough. And I kept, when I started a team, I had like 50 people reach out to me.
Really?
And yeah, but it's like, I don't know how to onboard. I don't know how to do shit. Like, people forget, like, I'm not a business. I fucking drove a semi 2 years ago. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about real estate, branding, marketing. I learned it all with time through the industry. So I grew up really small and then got bigger. And then I think the market shifting like fucked everything up. I think I could have grown it a lot bigger, but 40% of teams last year went under.
Yeah.
So I was happy that at least we came out. We're still surviving the storm. So I think it's coming soon. But
now, so you basically then decided, all right, 2 years in, starting up the team, went from 3 agents to 15, I think what you said now. Mm-hmm. At what point did you say, all right, like, I want to go open up like a brick and mortar, have my own office space? I know you did it like not the normal way. You got like a barber, a tattoo artist, like you got like the whole package going on in your office. Yeah. What made you say, you know what, I'm going to invest in a build out of an office, take on that rent every month instead of having like, a small office space that you could rent out, or, you went all in?
Yeah, I was stupid. I mean, I didn't ask people. I didn't ask people. I didn't talk to people. I just did my way. I had an office at the KW branch I was at, and I had a smaller office and agents. At that time I had 6 agents on the team, and they barely came in. But when they came in, it was a complaint, because it's like, we're all in this tiny office. They didn't want to work with a co-working space. So I was like, if I get an office, like, would you guys show up every day? And it was like, yes. And I didn't want the bigger office. And I had this dream, like, I did real estate different. I want to do a real estate office different. So I was like, there was an office front that I really fucking loved. And it was like in the nice downtown part of Chandler. And it's in a strip mall, but it's a nice storefront with restaurants to the side. So I was like, that's perfect walking traffic too.
Right.
You walk in it's an office vibe. And in the very back, there's a spiral staircase that led to the basement. And I was like, dude, that'd be dope if I had a barber and a tattoo artist in there. Like a speakeasy type vibe, but you got to walk to a real estate office to get to your tattoo appointment or your barber. And that one ended up being way too expensive, and they weren't willing to do some of the repairs.
Got it.
So I found an office building that it still has a front door, and in the back I have a barber, stylist, tattoo artist. But I just want a different feel for a traditional real estate office. But doing that, I opened an office, and guess who never showed up? The team. So
that's a problem that I still have. And obviously, I know you were at Keller, like you mentioned. I am at Keller. Like, I had one of the private offices, but then it, like you said, it gets too busy if you have anybody coming in. So then we actually broke down one of the walls next to us, and we combined 2 offices. Yeah. And then we actually knocked down a third one. So we have basically 3 offices combined into one large office now. So like it could fit 10 people at once. But it's like, it comes to the point where it's like, all right, do you want? But then again, it's nice to have your own storefront and have like your team, like you want to do your own trainings and your own things going on, rather than be under like the model, or like not their model, but like their umbrella of like an office.
Yeah. So I mean, it was cool and bad, like good and bad. Like, I always wanted this, and social media play, credibility. Like it's nice to have, but it's just a time suck it's the funny part is like, it shows my inexperience in business, because I signed this 2-year lease, get the office, and I literally checked the finances, did everything, put the down payment down, like finally got this office lease and taken care of. We get the keys. And I literally was like, oh, fuck, like I got to furnish this place. Like that wasn't even a thought. Like it wasn't a thought that I got to buy desks and all this shit because I was too busy getting the carpets changed, the paint, all that kind of stuff. So it was just a fucking spiral of shit for
Adds
a
up
year.
quick.
Yeah, but I mean, so many life lessons were learned that I'll never take that back because
you do it again.
I had this company, Successful Misfits, and that was like, it delivers a message, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not afraid to start over again. Like if I have to start over again, normally it'd be a fear. Like if real estate didn't work out, I don't think I'd be here right now. However, if real estate doesn't work out right now, I can start from zero and build this thing back up. So that's the best part about it this year is you just find the true way you should be doing business. And you're not fearful of failing anymore. It's just like you will fail. If you don't fail, amazing. If you do fail, you'll build it back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned something prior with the team and, you took on more than you maybe should have right away. But I guarantee you right now, if you were to say, would you start it over and do it all again the same exact way, you would probably say, yeah, I'm still all in.
Yeah, because that way I learned 5 different avenues of making money when I had no money. Like when shit was just going south, you strive for any way you can. Like we started relisting homes. I made 40 grand on a relist. But that wouldn't have came had I not been like searching so fucking hard for a different way of making money. So just in this turn, like we learned so much creative financing tricks that I'll never take it back because I think I needed to learn those lessons.
I think it's huge because like once we started the wholesaling company last year, it just opened up my eyes so much to like, you don't need to be like a one-trick pony in real estate. There's so many avenues in this industry that you can make hand over fist money where it's like, unless you want to be one of these old guys selling houses at 70 years old, I'm like, I don't want that life. I'm like, I don't want to be freaking running around commission check 70 years old because I got no pension and like I'm fucked. Like I want to make sure like there's the wholesaling side, the fix and flip side, the buying the rentals and building that passive income. Like there's so many ways that like the commission check should just be like your gasoline to like venture into these other avenues that make you money. It's like just a vehicle. And I think not enough people in this industry teach realtors that.
Yeah, I created a meme about that. It's like investors get this bad look. It's like a gray area. And I mean, I'm not allowed to give my client financial advice. Like, and it's like, why, like, what is listing a home? You're giving them financial advice. There's one way to sell a fucking home. So when we walk into homes, like we're not realtors, we're problem solvers. There's a problem and we solve it because an average person that you don't know. So if you're calling leads, if you're cold calling, if you're getting leads, if you're getting referrals, these people don't know you. They're not going to tell you their life secrets. They're not going to tell you they have a pre-foreclosure, that they just got a letter and it might not be a big deal, but they're afraid to say something because they don't want to show you their finances. They might have a mother that's dying and they got to sell their house because they think they need the money out of it. So when we go there and approach it and say, what's the problem? Like, what are you going to do with the money? And that's a hard question to ask at a listing appointment, but I straight up say like, hey, what are you going to do with the money? And it's like a pattern interrupt. And when they tell me, I'm like, oh, you're just going to save it. Like, this is your savings account. Let's just use this savings account as your house and take the money out and go purchase. But I can't do that because I'm a financial advisor. But in reality, I don't want to sit there and tell them to sell a home. Like if their true feeling is that they have to sell a home because they got a pre-foreclosure letter, like I could get that shit. I can take your money out. There's ways that we can work this, that I can get that taken care of, or we can get the bank to extend it. Like it's not that big of a deal. But I think we lose sight of an average consumer doesn't know our industry. And that's the biggest marketing genius I have, where people are coming to me and I'm just like, no, I just take this career and look at it from an average consumer point of view. I don't look at it as a realtor.
Right.
So I think too many agents think like agents and they don't think like the actual consumer they're trying to help.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I wish I just started getting into this, vehicle of wholesaling and the investment side. Like we bought our house in Florida in August and we bought it in like a location where you're allowed to short-term rent. And it's been crushing it. And we just actually finished installing an in-ground pool and everything, which will increase like $100, $150 a day. So it's going to bring in a couple extra $1,000 a month. And it's like, I wish I was taught these type of things of, how to use your money and make that money work for you rather than just like leave it sitting in a bank or leave it doing, nothing or blowing it on stupid shit. It's like nobody teaches the realtor like how to use the money that they're making because, you could be as busy as you want, but if you're not using that money, you're always going to be chasing that next deal in the pipeline.
Yeah, I think it's irresponsible for us as an industry. Like in reality, like how many agents are there? Millions, right? Like, I'm a fucking truck driver with his face tattooed, and I'm now able to handle the biggest financial purchase of someone's life. Let's take that seriously now, and like let me do my job. Like you can't tell me I'm not allowed to give somebody wealth advice of how they can use their own home, but you can teach someone who used to just work at Circle K and got their fucking license that they can just sell their home. So it's
a
in
joke.
reality, yeah, it's a joke that, and I don't think enough of us take the job seriously. And that's like
I think in New York, once COVID happened, every fucking person and their mother got their real estate license in New York. It went from like 30,000 realtors on Long Island to like 50,000. Like it was ridiculous. And then you're thinking about all these people. Like they make the license. Anybody can get their license with the Pulse. You have $100, you can go take a test, and if you're any somewhat half intelligent, like you'll pass this test. And then you're just thrown out into the field. Everything you learn on the test has nothing to do with anything real estate related, nothing to do with the transaction, nothing to help the seller or the buyer in any type of financial issue. They teach you how many square feet are in an acre. Like it's that you're never going to use. And then, but they can go and sell. They can go help you with your biggest investment, like you said. And it's a joke. They have no idea what they're doing. You spend $50,000 over on a house that's falling apart because they tell you so. They have no idea what they're doing, and then you're like automatically in a hole. But then again, you say I put up a for sale sign before I put the house on the market for one day, and they want to slap you with a fine. So it's like it's just a money game for them.
Yeah,
I feel like all MLSs.
Agents need to understand too. What other careers can you make our kind of money? Like the money you can make in real estate, the other careers you can do that is a doctor, surgeon, lawyer, CEO, dentist, like all these careers that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get your license or the bar test. You got to go through all your 20s in financial debt and not being able to party and live your life because you're in school. Like there's so many sacrifices to be able to make that kind of money. And in real estate, they get licensed after a 90-hour course, and they just they expect to make that they expect to make doctor money. And they want to do secretary work to make doctor money, and it doesn't work. So that's why there's 85% fail rate. So I'm just trying to get the people in that want to do the work and want that and take it seriously, because who's not taking it seriously or not. And 100%. If I'm asking you to read a contract, you're not doing it. If you're not going to training classes, if you can't work a 40-hour week, but you want $250,000 a year, and you want to get paid more than your doctor who spent 8 years sacrificing his life and is $200,000 in debt. It's just they're not taking it seriously. So I think us as agents need to actually
do better.
Yeah.
When you bring on agents to your team, because I know how Keller and EXP and they have the downline structure where they could be part of your organization, we'll call it. But then you could have your team as your main team, right? Yeah. Do you have any rules to come into the team? Is it only full timers? Do you take part timers? Is there any guidelines before you would say you can qualify to come into the team?
So that's something I'm trying to balance right now. I'm trying to figure that out, because I always approached it, I'll take anybody.
So did we.
I do want to teach them the business. I do want to help. I don't want to kick an agent off my team because they're not used to doing the work, because I know that this is a career that can change their life. And with EXP, I also want to grow a downline so I can eventually make residual money. So, but I also go to these masterminds, and me not holding an agent to standards is me doing them a disservice, because now I'm telling them it's okay to run your business this way.
Right.
And if there's an 85% fail rate, why are you saying it's okay to be able to be on your team and not have to prospect?
Right.
So I'm trying to balance that right now with what I actually want to do. I do want to help the part-time agents because they're going to be part-time regardless, and I know I can do better for them.
Right.
So it's just I'm still bouncing. So yeah, I'm still learning the career, dude.
Because we used to bring in everybody, but we would put so much time and effort into these people that were part-time that say, I really want to do this. I want to leave my full-time job. I want to do this. Even people that want to do it full-time, they're I'm going to leave my job. I want to do this full-time. Help me, teach me, show me what I got to do. you would spend hours and tens of hours on trainings and answering the calls at 9 o'clock at night, and then they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
They never do a deal. And you're like, like if you put $300, $400, $500, $200 an hour of what you're worth, you're spending thousands of dollars on time with these people that think it's like, all right, big deal. No, they don't see it that way. They don't do a deal, and then you're like, all right, what if I took those 20 hours and put that into something else? So we're at the point where, like, honestly, like right now, we're not bringing in any brand new agents unless you're full time, and then we'll entertain it. But a part time agent, we're not even bringing them in most of the time anymore, because it's just so much work. And like you said, like, you could give them a blueprint. We give them the world, leads, marketing, you name it, we pay for it, and they still don't want to do it. Yeah. So it's like, what do you? But they want the money. They want their phone to ring consistently with business. But then if you tell them, listen, you want to go door knock that area for a new listing? You want to go hit up, you want to go cold call that area that you just door knocked and follow up, and it's crickets.
Yeah.
You want to work one of our open houses, try to pick up some buyers. It's like pulling teeth. You want to shoot content? One or two people. I'm like, guys, we literally paid for the stuff for you. All you got to do is just put the time in. Yeah. I'm sure you deal with the same stuff.
Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. It's frustrating, but I'm still trying to balance that out, because the team's now a year old, so there's going to be some learning curves, and I just got to figure out, do I want a team of 20 that do 5 deals, or do I want 5 people that do 20 deals? Right. My dream team would be like his name's Kenny Fast. He's like one of the biggest teams at EXP. Okay. But he has 360 agents on his team.
Just his team?
Yeah, he's got like 700 in his downline, but 360 on his team.
That's insane.
And I like that. I like that model that I could. Because that's, if you look at, I'm a branding guy, so I have 360 people pushing my brand. So that's I also look on that factor too. Like, if I ran a team of 5 people, it's 5 people pushing my brand. If I have 15, eventually that's just growth. I'm only 3 years in the industry, like 2 more. Right. I wasn't expecting to have any kind of business till 5 years.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that part out.
It's one of those things, like, we never know, like, I don't know if there is a right way or a wrong way. It's more just like, is this going to make sense for us or for you, for example? It's just, there's so many different things, and it's constantly changing. It's like, we think about it all the time. Do we want to have 5, 10 agents that just consistently do business and just pour all the resources on top of them just to keep blowing them up and blowing up the team by them? Or do we, go thinner on them and hope for the masses and hope that one out of every couple that you bring in are, turn into something? Yeah. It's like double-edged sword, because eventually you keep throwing as you bring in more people, we're realizing, you got to pay more money if you're in lead generate, for leads for them. You just got to have more things to offer, or it costs more money to offer the same amount of stuff to everybody. But if they're not doing anything, then it kind of ends up you taking a wash. You're losing.
Yeah. 100%.
But speaking about losing, I know you mentioned before you got the successful Misfits hat on. Yeah. I just wanted to hit on that, talk about it a little bit. I know that's something that you started up, and it was always something of interest that I followed you. When you give your stories. For the people that don't know about it, give us the details.
So this is a company I started like 3-4 months ago. Like, short backstory, like, there was one day at work, I was going through divorce. It was like 118 degrees outside. I'm driving home from a 13.5-hour shift. I'm fighting with my wife because we're going through a divorce. And I'm like, I spent all day in a toxic mindset because I'm going through that. And I'm at a shitty job. It's fucking hot. I got all this stuff going on. And I saw a billboard, and it said the tattooed lawyer. And he had a suit on, a big gavel, and the suit was sleeveless. And he had his tattoos. He had 2 arm sleeves and a couple on his neck, and it said the tattooed lawyer. And I looked at that, and the only thing I could think was, dude, that's exactly who I would work with. So that thought always stayed in my mind. Like,
that's cool.
I did some more research on him. He ended up being like a huge lawyer in the Valley. He changed his name to Anti-Lawyer. Cut to second divorce. Sounds bad, but cut to like me tearing my life apart more and more and more. And keep in mind, these divorces were like, these were people I was okay. Like, we had a healthy relationship. Like, we got along. Like, my second wife, we're best friends. And I'm only getting divorced because I hate myself. I hate my job. I'm not happy. And I don't want to keep dragging other people through my struggles.
So it was more just on
So
you.
yeah, it was all on me. And I remember that when she left and me crying in the corner, all I could think of is that billboard. Like, if he did it, like, he has tattoos and he's a lawyer, like, he gets business, he grew a massive successful field.
Right.
Why can't I? Why can't I call myself the tattooed realtor and do the same shit? I can join a professional industry. I can brand myself around my look, and maybe I'll have an ounce of the success he had. But it took me seeing that and remembering it to take the step to actually do it. And once I did it, it changed my life. It changed my kids' life. It changed my family's life. But if real estate didn't work out, like, what if I never had that? What if I never saw him?
Right.
Would have killed myself, because there was no other answer. I did not want to continue living like that. So, like, that meant something, like, so much to me, that it just took me seeing it to know I had permission. So that's what this company is. It just gives people permission to have success. So it's all people that have a different look, background, walk of life. They came here poor. They're an immigrant, abusive relationships, even single moms. We had a wife who was a stay-at-home wife. The husband made good money, but she spent years unhappy because she was afraid to leave, because he tore her down and said, "You'll never be anything without me." And then these are all people who took that background and built massive companies, $1 million companies. We had a guy who was a homeless meth addict 5 years ago. Now he's a multimillionaire. He's worth $50 million.
Wow.
But these are all people who society will write them off, right? It's
Right.
Peter. He's in prison for 12 years. He gets out. No one's going to hire him. He's in prison. Like, he has a prison background.
Right.
No one's going to take a chance on him. So it's like you're building these people to fail. You complain that 85% of prisoners go back to prison or end up dead, but yet when they get out, they have nowhere to turn to. The whole 12 years he did in prison, you could have taught him how to be an entrepreneur. He could have came out with a business mindset and tried to build something. Yep. So that's what this company is. It's people's permission to have success. So some people just need to see it. I needed to see it in order to know I could do it. So
yeah,
this is just awesome. Sharing their stories and trying to, because somebody out there is watching it and say, I had that background and he did it, so I can do it.
Yeah. Kudos to you, man. I think that's absolutely awesome. I think it's, like you said, I'm sitting in a corner. You're like, if I couldn't do this, maybe I kill myself, right? As we say, could be jokingly, could be not, but like, someone could be, thousands of people are really thinking that, and maybe they watch one of your things like this, and they're like, and they don't do what they are thinking about doing, and they make a second life for themselves, and I think that's just awesome. If it saves one person, I think it's worth. You can't even put a numerical value on what that would mean. So that's awesome.
The best part about it, it's no matter who it is, like we touch everybody. So if the event I have in August, we have 10 speakers. So if I bring 400 people to that event, there's no way you can leave that event and have an excuse anymore.
Right.
Like, you no longer have an excuse. You just
one of those people are hitting you.
Yeah. You heard 10 different stories of people that had absolutely nothing going for them and were in horrible situations and what they built from it. So it's more of like a motivating factor to tell people, like, your only excuse is you. Like, you're holding yourself back.
Yeah. No, I didn't know all of that of how it really, what it was all about. But I mean, literally, that kudos to you, man. I think that's absolutely awesome. I think you're going to hear probably so many great stories that literally just would also then improve your life, and everybody around it. Like you said, I don't think you can go to an event like that and not come out and be like, why am I even shitting on myself right now? Like, let's get to work. Like, yeah, I think it's just awesome.
Thank you.
But I want to get into also, like you said, like you were building this brand, the Successful Misfits brand, and you have all your branding, and you're a guru, as I would call it, in the marketing branding. I think all the things that you do, for the people that don't know what Justin does, I've seen him on his billboards, which are out of the norm, and things that you would put up, like when you put the home and there was like HOME at the bottom, like people, you get the good publicity, you get the bad publicity. Like, I don't care as long as they're talking about me. It's good. It's good in my opinion, type of deal. Yeah. Like, you have the cars, the buses wrapped with all your logos, the graffiti, all the stuff. Like, you're just true to who you are and like everything about it. Like, what did you do first, and then what has like some of the reactions been? I know you said you started off with something got written up about you when you first started, or something of that nature that propelled it a little bit. Like, what was the process like?
So I got one of the biggest realtors in the Valley. Someone like sent him a picture and said, this guy's trying to do real estate, and he had said something on his Facebook page, I ended up sharing it. I'm 2 weeks in the industry, just licensed. I still have a job. But I said, this is exactly the stigma that's on tattooed people and the objection I'll have to overcome in my career. That thing went from 30 comments and they were all negative. So I wasn't mad at what he put. He didn't put anything, like, he's a funny guy and his shit. Like, I got a sense of humor. Like, what he put was witty as fuck.
Right.
But the hate underneath it, like, he'll never make it. I feel sorry for his kids. Go back to prison. I'm like, how can you take, like, I'm smiling and I'm in a suit in this picture. Right. And this is that you determine I am just because I have face tattoos. And like, and you think you're a better person because you can tear somebody down by just looking at them, and like just the fucking the ignorance behind that thought. Right. I shared it, and it went from 30 comments to like 700, and it got shared hundreds of times. The news ended up doing a story. It was shared on affiliate stations across the nation. But
so that shit went viral all over.
Yeah, so at least I like had like a boost, and that's the whole purpose of branding myself the Tattooed Realtor, was because I didn't think people would trust me. So now I know I'm not going to cold call because I'm very high anxiety, like I shake and stuff like that. But also I didn't want to prospect somebody for 3 months on the phone to meet them in person, and now I have to overcome my look and everything. I don't want to door knock because no one's going to answer their fucking door for me. So my idea of the branding was I was going to do social media, my sphere, leads, also open houses, and legitimacy. I remember, and this is the biggest thing I teach agents is you need to think like a consumer, not like an agent. I remember when I was driving home from work, I had a scorpion problem. Scorpions are big in Arizona, and I had a 1-year-old, and I found a scorpion. I was pissed off, and my pest control company like came out, and I still had the problem. But here I am driving home from work. I pull up next to a truck, and it's lifted. It has big, nice rims on it. It's matte black, and there's a big thing that says Green Mango Pest Control. And it's a dope ass F-150 lifted. I'm like, dude, this dude spends some money on his trucks. And my only thought was, if all of his drivers can drive these trucks, he must know what he's doing. He must have a great business. And if he has a great business, he has a lot of clientele. And they're not leaving him. All that was going through my head. So I literally called them. They've been my pest control company for 12 years. All because I pulled up next to him at a light and just saw legitimacy. And I figured when I start the business, I don't want somebody to come in an open house and they have Keller Williams signs and my team signs, and then they come in and they see me sitting there. And now I got to say, yes, I'm the agent. I'm doing open house, because the first thing I think of is, who the fuck is this guy? So me having my own open house sites branded to me. My car was wrapped. My listing signs were my brand. I had a 6-foot cutout at the front door holding a sign that said, don't be alarmed by the big tattooed guy inside. Please sign in and view the house. Now, when they see all these things in a row, I'm not having to overcome that objection when they
Right. You're breaking that ice.
They're like, oh, obviously this guy's the tattooed realtor, but also look legit. Like, this guy's car is wrapped. He's got his own signs. He's got a listing sign. He's got that cutout. I had a tattoo pen that they signed in. So in my mind, legitimacy wise, I'm not a fake. I'm not a fraud. I'm not like a part-time agent. This guy has a brand.
Right.
So that's why I started branding, is because of that moment I saw. But it all comes back to think like a consumer. And everything I've been tagged as a genius has nothing to do with any kind of genius. It's just me looking at something that somebody else is doing and doing it 10 times better, or just taking myself out of the realtor role and put me in a consumer role and say, what is a consumer doing in this situation? Mm-hmm. So like the donut box idea I have, which was a big hit, a lot of people. I had 2 closings one month, and one of the girls in my office had 6. And I was like, what is she doing that I'm not doing? So instead of guessing, I went all over her social media. And I'm like, what is she posting? What is she doing? What kind of things is she doing? If you want to learn what someone's doing, go freaking look. And I remember she was at this neighborhood and they were handing out donuts, and she farms the neighborhood, but every once a month she hands out donuts to everybody and business card and says hi. But I started thinking, oh, then she was dropping them off at schools, police stations, hospitals, just dropping off boxes of donuts. But the thing was, she's dropping off a box of donuts with a business card taped to it. And I think in my office, we have crumble cookies. All these things get delivered all the time by vendors. I've never, ever looked who delivered it. I just opened the box, grabbed a cookie. So I started thinking, that's a great idea, but how do I force them to look at the box? And so I said, instead of getting a box of Dunkin' Donuts and taping my business card, why don't I just make my business card the box? So I got custom donut boxes made that were glossy black. They had Let's Ink a Deal on the front. They had my logo and my cartoon character, and it said the tattoo. So all my branding was on it, and it was super bright and vibrant. So there's no way you cannot look at this. This
Right.
is when you go get a donut. I also put my Instagram on there. So now I had the very first delivery. I put 5 boxes in a hospital. I had 27 nurses share my story, or
Really?
tag me in their story. Say, "Oh, thanks for the cookies. Call tattoo." So it's like it's the same exact thing somebody else is doing. I just figured out a way to make it 10
Do it
times
better.
better.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, I'm a marketing genius. I'm like, no, I'm not. I took somebody else's idea and just made it better. But doing those things, put yourself in the consumer's shoes, because that's what I did. I said, if I'm a doctor in a hospital and I got patients, I'm this and that, I'm running back and forth, I'm just going to go open the box, grab it, and go. But now I'm like just taking one extra step and forcing that person to look at the box. But now I'll putting my Instagram on there and having a cool slogan like "Let's ink a deal." Now, when the nurses take a selfie with the box and say thank you, now how many followers does she have? 300?
Right.
So
Exactly.
now I have 300 followers. Maybe she gets 100 story views. That's 100 people who didn't see my face or my brand before that day. And if
Yep.
I'm on 23 stories, that's essentially an average 2,300 people saw me that day that never seen me before.
Yeah.
So it's just, you got to take yourself out and keep doing that over and over again with these ideas.
Now, as you're growing, and obviously you've grown a shit ton, I'm assuming, from day one, right? Are you still doing these little things that you did from the beginning?
No. So this is another thing I struggle with. It's everything that was bringing me business I shied away for, because now I'm starting a team. Now I'm starting to wholesale. Now I'm Successful Misfits. I got podcasts. I'm traveling, speaking. I lost 7 listings last year. And these are
Really?
7 listings of people that bought homes from me, and they didn't sell their home with me. And instead of sitting there saying F you, I call them, and it's my fault because I don't have a drip system. I would drop off one gift every year, like at Christmas, to let
Right.
them know I'm thinking about them. But that's not how you're supposed to do real estate.
Yeah.
But here I am growing and doing all these things. I'm forgetting what brought me the business. And so I call these people. I say, hey, notice your home's listed. Like, why don't you use me? And it was the same answer. It was, you look too busy. I didn't want to bother you. You're buying $1 million homes and flipping them. Like, I don't think you want to sell my $300,000 home. It was
Really?
all legitimate answers. Like, it's just like, they don't want to bother me. Like, how, I'm making it feel like you have to bother. What do you mean? So
That's
everything
crazy.
business I shied away from, because now I have the business. So I'm learning how to be a businessman. I'm only 3 years in. So like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you guys have so many learning lessons still. But when you have people like you that are teaching you from day one, here's how you do real estate. Like, take that shit seriously, because I'm 3 years in. I'm just starting a CRM. That's ridiculous.
Listen, I'm just like you though, on that matter. So I'm in the business now 6 years. I was in restaurant businesses prior, and bullshit prior than that, and I didn't use a CRM until about 4 years in. I was like, I didn't have a drip campaign. I didn't even know what a drip campaign was. I didn't even know you're supposed to, people were like, oh, you have like a database. I'm like, a what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And I didn't start really focusing on using one till I pretty much got to Keller. And now doing the wholesaling, like I realized like how important it is on follow-up stuff and like staying on top of these people. And because we're wholesaling a lot where we live, so it's like sometimes it's a listing opportunity, sometimes it's a wholesale, but like keeping in mind, so like we built out like a whole system, Podio, we built out like a whole custom CRM for that stuff, for like the wholesaling side. So I've realized how important it is, and even if it's just to send an automated message with your information on it once a month, so doing that. So they stay top of mind. Like I send my people a magazine, one of my magazines every other month. And we'll send them like anniversary cards still every year with like a $10 scratch off, like I said, for life. If you hit big and you need to upgrade, like hit me up. Like just all these little things over and over and over again, just to stay top of mind. So when the time does come, I'm like, I'm hoping I get that first phone call.
Yeah, I like that.
But the CRMs are just, I just started it probably, I'm 2 years into it, and I wish I started it and I was taught that from day one, because it would have been triple as big. And who knows, like you said, how many deals we probably lose because we don't stay in contact with them, and they just see a persona of thinking they're too busy, or they just don't even think about you because they forgot your name.
And that's the biggest thing I do in my business, is I just figure out every single day how to stay top of mind with social media, with the billboards, with the crazy shit, with the funny videos. All it is just staying top of mind. And I don't teach this thing like this is my opinion on the business. It is the business. When when someone's selling their home, that their first thought is, oh my gosh, Justin's an agent. Like, that's so naive to think that.
Right.
They're selling their house, they're moving their family, they're moving a job, they lost money, they got a lot of money. There's so much things that emotions that their first thought is not Justin's a real estate agent.
Right.
And when they say we need a real estate agent, then like you're in the back of their mind, like somewhere.
Right.
But when you're consistent every single day, when they had the conversation, the wife and husband the night before, how the next morning they're driving, and then they see my billboard, like, oh shit, yeah, I remember Justin was, or a social media post or this or that. So I teach agents like just to be consistent on their message, because I had a cash buy that I went on an appointment, and this girl knew me for 15 years. We are very, very good friends. She knows I'm in real estate. She's been supporting me from day one.
Right.
She went to her mom's house, and her mom's like, oh yeah, I'm selling the house and need to downgrade. I'm tired of living in this big house. I got an offer pad, an open door offer for cash. And she's like, oh, what? You're selling and all this stuff? The next day I posted a I'll buy your home cash meme, and she responded to it. She said, oh, I forgot. My mom, she sold her home cash. She's like talking open door. I was like, what? Why don't you tell me? And my mom, I know why she'd tell me, because she has so many other issues going on.
Right.
But me posting consistently that day she saw it. I still got a hold of mom before she took an offer. It didn't need a cash offer, so I ended up listing it. I just said, give me 2 weeks, I'll get you a cash offer from an investor, but I can shop the market on a listing. So she ended up getting $70,000 more for giving it to me for 2 weeks to list it. And I made $17,000 off the deal.
Right.
And it all came from me just doing consistent work and knowing these people don't just think about you. You have to be consistent with the message you deliver.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that was something like I've been doing the social media thing for probably like 2 years now. And like, I used to do it all myself, and like you would post and you not post and you not. And now I ended up hiring a company that will come out, batch all your content. They post twice a day. They get it all out there. So like, I don't want to ever be too busy to forget to like, I need to put out a message today. Like I need people to realize, oh, look, I don't care if you unfollow me. If you unfollow me, you're probably never going to use me anyway. But I want to be in your face so much where I annoy you so much, or be like, dude, I get it. I will call you when the time comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you started doing so what got you into the billboards?
That tattooed lawyer, we ended up doing a podcast together. So he's built a massive business. He does a lot of marketing. He was like spending millions of dollars a year on marketing. He has billboards all over. But he told me, he's like, you should do a billboard. And I was like, no, like that sounds like too expensive. It just sounded too expensive. So he's like, yeah, but you have a face that people would recognize. Like, it's not like you're an average fucking white person or whatever, like on a billboard. He's like, you have face tattoos. Like, they're going to remember that.
Right.
Like him, he's tattooed all over. But if he was just walking around in a t-shirt, like, you're not going to automatically know it was him. He's like, with you will. So the first billboard I put up, they gave me a discount because they're like, you think you can like get some eyes on it? I said, oh, fuck yeah, I'll get eyes on it. But now I have one billboard up and I got all this credibility. Like, people are like, dude, he's got a billboard, and people are taking pictures. It was so cool to everybody. But like, who else has billboards? Like Coca-Cola, these massive companies, lawyers. Right. You can have one, and you're now on the same level as a national brand who spends billions of dollars.
Right.
Because perception-wise, from an average person, that's a billboard. It cost a lot of money. But in reality, it was more of a brand play. Billboards don't just bring business. Like, people have to see it over and over and over again to like trust you.
Right.
So the billboard company would charge me per drive-by. So it was more like an average amount of cars that drive by. This billboard costs this much. So I started thinking, take myself out of the realtor role, put myself in a car, and I'm like, how do I make it so do I look at billboards? Like, no, I don't look at billboards. So I was like, what's the point of having this billboard when I don't even look at them? Right. So the first crazy billboard I did was the NSYNC one. And I put my face on all their bodies. And it's that one where they're marionette puppets. I put my face on all their bodies. And up top, that Bye 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 song, I just did B-U-Y, 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 like bye, bye, bye. And I said, are you not in sync with your living situation? Let's talk. And then I just put my Instagram on there. I didn't put a website, I didn't put a phone number because it's too much shit to memorize. But I'm getting charged per drive-bys. Now people are like looking at my brand and these funny billboards that they're fucking laughing at now because you got their attention.
Right.
And then they're taking pictures of it and tagging me on social media. So now I'm like, not only am I getting the billboard play for a drive-by and people are actually looking at it.
Yeah, you're getting IG.
But now I'm getting like 300 shares on Instagram. So it's like I said, dude, I'm not a marketing genius. I just took myself in a car roll and said, I don't look at billboards. What's going to make me look? And just doing little things like that, like just thinking like an average fucking person will change your business.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you obviously did it the smart way, and obviously it worked because, you take one advertisement and turn it into two advertisements for the price of one because of the shares and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, literally, it's a no-brainer.
Well, here's the best part. What's the downplay of that? Because all the realtors, they think like realtors, and they're saying, why would you want to do that? You're turning people off. And they're like, you don't have a value add. You don't have a call to action. I'm like, what? You don't need one. Like, you think I can put my face in a suit and tie on that billboard and give enough call to action that someone's going to trust me? Like, what am I going to say? I'll buy you. I'll sell your home for more. You don't trust the other guys. Trust me. It's like, no one's going to read it for one. It's a fucking message, and people don't read messages when they're driving. Two, it's just to get the foot in the door. If I make them laugh, it's a foot in the door. And here's the biggest part of it is, and I learned this through marketing. Even McDonald's, these huge companies, they know any type of marketing they do, they only hit 33% of people. Like McDonald's is a huge brand. They spend billions of dollars, but vegans don't eat there, vegetarians don't eat there, health nuts don't eat there, gluten allergies don't eat there. There's tons of people that don't eat McDonald's, but they still deliver the same message with a lot of money.
Right.
Same thing with agents. No matter if I'm the suit and tie person with a smile and a message, the same amount of people are still going to hate me because I've seen it online. I had a suit on, I had a smile, and people still give me shit. So I'm like, billboards are the same thing. No matter what you do, you, me, anyone listening on this call, you get 33% of people. That is a national average of a marketing statistic. Like, I know agents that have the look, and I had an agent on my team. She looks like a supermodel. Single women didn't want to work with her because they're intimidated. Wives didn't want to work with her because they don't want their husband to go viewing a home with a hot chick. An old agent, 60-year-old agent that works at RE/MAX that knows the business. They've been in for 40 years and they're the smartest in the business. But my friends don't want to work with them. Like, they don't like see eye with people like that. So no matter what you do in business, you get 33% of people. And then the other 33% will hate you. And then the other 30%, they're just indifferent. They're not out. They're just, you can get their attention still. But what people do is they change who they are to hit the 66%, and you're never going to. And now you're just turning off your own people because you're not being yourself. So the people that enjoy that type of funny, that type of banter, that funny shit, are the same people that are going to use me. So instead of changing who I am, I've always just leaned into who I am, because there's what's that saying? Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So if your vibe attracts your tribe, why the fuck are you changing yourself?
Right.
Your people will come to you. And those are the people, like, now if I make a funny video that's not real estate appropriate, who cares? I made people laugh. And who's going to share it? My people.
Right.
You think anyone if I just deliver a message and say, this is earnest money and here's what earnest money gets used for, no one's going to share that shit. Agents aren't going to watch it because they already know. Your friends aren't going to watch it because they're not buying a house right now. They buy a house once a year, and you're posting that type of shit every day. Like, they're not going to share it. So I started just delivering real estate messages in a funny video, and just has nothing to do with an actual deal. All you know is I'm in real estate, and I'm going to make you laugh, and I'm just going to make it terrible.
Listen, I was going to ask you another question, but honestly, I want to end it on that because I thought, like, what you just explained just drives like the mic drop, and I think we ended right there. So for everybody that is looking to get involved with the Successful Misfits, to get in the wholesaling stuff that, they're looking to invest, or they're looking to move to Arizona and they want to work with you, where do they find you? How do they get a hold of you? The best way?
Call Tattoo on Instagram. Just like call CALL Tattoo, and there's some fake pages, but you'll see mine. It's just, that's all it is. It's just Call Tattoo. There's no spaces. There's no underscores. It's just that. But I answer all my DMs. I'm on there every day. I help agents all the time, and I don't poach. I don't try to recruit people. That's not. I hated EXP for 2.5 years because I hate used car salesmen. I went there for an opportunity for me. So if you ever reach out to me, I'll always answer people's questions, and I want to get to know agents everywhere. So.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. I mean, some of the stories that you had, absolutely golden nuggets. I can't wait to chop this up into content. Again, if you have a house that you're looking to sell here on Long Island, I'm your man. Give me a call. If you have a house in Arizona, you know who to call. Call Tattoo. Hit them up. Again, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate everything.
If you ever want a second one, just let me know. So.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Later.